In this video, we're going to talk about how I invest my money, and we're also going to look at technical analysis of the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. We're going to look at VOO and QQQ. So let's jump right into it. All right, so this is how I manage my money and my investments. So all the money I earn goes into my bank account, and I only keep enough money in my bank account to cover my monthly bills with a little bit of buffer. So as an example, let's say your monthly bills are $3,000. I would only keep $4,000 in my bank account, and then all other money would be transferred to my brokerage and put in various accounts. The first account I have is just an individual brokerage where everything is in cash and everything is sitting in the money market. And with the money market right now, you're going to gain about 4% interest. So continuing with the same example above, if I normally keep $4,000 per month in my bank account, I'm going to keep $4,000 in this savings account in the brokerage. Again, all this money is just sitting as cash in the money market so I can withdraw it whenever I need it. And this is basically my emergency fund. If something happens, maybe I don't have any income for a month, maybe an expense pops up, whatever it may be, emergency fund. Next, my goal is to max out my Roth contributions every year. So that's the first place that money goes when I have additional money. Again, the goal is to max this out every single year. The Roth IRA, your gains can grow tax-free. Best thing you can do, in my opinion, if you don't have a company 401k that does matching to your contributions. If your employer does a 401k with matching contributions up to a certain percentage, I would do that first. I would consider that separate from what I'm talking about here, but this is just my extra money. So let me do this real quick. Next, I also want to talk about my Roth IRA, how I distribute what I invest in. These are long-term compounding stocks, pretty safe bets, things like Nvidia, Google, Microsoft. I do have some Coinbase, some Costco. And then 20% of what I put in goes into VOO, the S&P 500, 10% is QQQM, and then 70% are stocks. I do it this way so I have more of a buffer or a safety net with VOO and QQQM. If these individual stocks go down for whatever reason, VOO and QQQM are going to go down less, so it's a less impact on my portfolio. Next, I have an ETF portfolio. This I kind of view as more of like a savings account, which is going to grow more over time. And I put most of that money simply into VOO and QQQM. So 50% goes into VOO, 25% goes into QQQM, and then 25% can be in miscellaneous ETFs. Right now I have some money in JEPQ, which is like a covered call ETF for the NASDAQ. So you're going to get dividends every month or income every month, however you want to call it. And then I have some bonds, and I don't have any gold yet, but I'm considering adding gold here simply because of how well it's been performing this year. I'm probably going to wait for a little bit of pullback before I do. But the bonds and the gold are basically, again, a little safety net. If stocks go down, bonds and golds may not be impacted as much. So it just keeps your total portfolio from going down as much. So again, this is kind of like a savings account as a growth account. I'm not spending a lot of time picking stocks for this. I just weekly or every other week, I'll buy some VOO and QQQ, and then maybe a little bit of these other ETFs, or if another ETF I like, I might look into that. But very safe, very, very low risk. So as you can see, with my Roth, I have 20% in VOO, 10% QQQM, and then 70% stocks. This ETF portfolio is basically 100% ETFs, 50% VOO, 25% QQQM. So now that's why I wanted to start this little YouTube growth portfolio challenge, which I'll update that maybe tomorrow after the market close. But for this account, I'm taking $10,000, and that's going to be riskier growth bets. Like I said, in my Roth is pretty safe. I don't really invest in anything risky. This portfolio is going to be my risky portfolio. And when I say risky, I don't mean hype stocks or speculative stocks, which are basically gambling. I'm still looking at stocks that I think have great growth potential, have positive net revenue, positive net cash flow, but they are a little bit riskier. So for example, in my Roth, I have a lot of Nvidia. In my growth portfolio, I have AMD. I think AMD is riskier than NVIDIA simply because NVIDIA is such a dominant stock and AMD is trying to play catch up with NVIDIA. That being said, AMD has a great business, positive cash flow, growing revenue, doing very well. I think it is a safe bet. Over time, it's going to go up. And here's just a little breakdown of what I was talking about, how I do things. Cash account, no stocks, no VOO, no QQQM, Roth 20% VOO, 10% QQQM, 70% stocks. My ETF growth portfolio is 50% VOO, 25% QQQM. And then again, the other 25% could be different ETFs. Some people like the SCHD dividend portfolio. I don't really like that, so I'm not doing that. I'm doing other ETFs, but just an ETF portfolio to safely grow savings over time. And then I have my growth portfolio, the YouTube challenge $10,000 portfolio, which is 100% stocks. So another reason why I wanted to do this YouTube growth portfolio is because I have been very safe with my investments. Not that that's a bad thing, but I do want to see if I can create a little bit of growth with this money. But that's how I set up my investments. Very simple, straightforward. Keep enough cash in your bank account for your monthly expenses with a little bit of buffer. And then anything extra, I transfer into these portfolios. The reason why is if your money is just sitting in cash in your bank account, you're not gaining barely any interest on it. You're losing value over time. So it makes much more sense, even just to keep it in the money market where you're gaining about 4% interest right now over the years. So that's how I do things. All right, let's look at VOO and QQQ. Let's look at what the market is doing. And as I've stated multiple times, those are the main ETFs I invest in. So keeping track of what they're doing is important. Both VOO and QQQM are down about 0.5% today, so a little bit of a red day. But let's look at what we see. So this is the weekly chart. As of right now, VOO is well above the 50, 100, and 200 moving averages on the weekly chart. Looking at this, I do think this is a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4. So we're probably in wave 5 of this current cycle, which means we might see a pullback soon. So we got wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5 somewhere up here. And you can see that the wave 3 retested the wave 1 high, which is usually, that's kind of a target a lot of people look at. Let's look at the retracements just to see. So wave 1 retraced right to that 0.5 retracement. And then again, whether you believe in technical analysis or not, I do believe it is a good tool to use to look at good times to buy. This is textbook time to buy. 200 moving average on the weekly chart. You are never going to go wrong buying VOO at the 200 weekly moving average. That's a great time to buy. Before I continue, none of this is financial advice. I'm not a professional. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making stuff up as I go. Do your own research. Buy what you want to buy. Don't listen to me. All right, back to the charts. So we see that's a textbook retracement right at the 200 moving average on the weekly chart. Great time to buy. Let's look at the retracement on this potential wave 3. Again, right at the 0.5 retracement. It's crazy how this happens. And again, I think it's like 80% or 90% of all daily trading is done by computer algorithms, and they just go for these targets. That's why for most people, it's better to just buy and hold and don't try and time like buying and selling. Like, it's probably not a good idea to try to time selling at the top. You're probably not going to time it right. So long-term investing is the way to go in my opinion. But this is textbook, and this is why I started buying heavily in this area during the tariffs in March, April time, because it was at this retracement level and it was retesting the wave 1 high. Didn't quite hit the 200 weekly average, but it got close. Great time to buy. So let's take that off. So if this is indeed wave 5, what are the targets? What are we looking at? So let's look at the extension of wave 1. So we see that wave 3 hit the exact 1-to-1 extension of wave 1. Exact same amount, retraced to the 0.5, exactly the same. So let's do this. Assuming wave 5 is the same length as wave 1 and wave 3, what are we looking at? I mean, from this point, it looks like we could be seeing a little more upside. Let's do this as well. This is a new technique I've just started doing recently, taking the retracement from the swing high to swing low. And it's right around the 1.618, 1.75 extensions, which are targets. So I think we hit at least these marks for this current cycle up. Again, I don't know. Doing technical analysis, you're just trying to predict a little bit. You don't know. It's all a guessing game in reality. But again, using this as a tool is good to make sure you don't buy at not the best times. Another thing I do, like I said, a dollar cost average in the VOO and QQQM. So basically I'm putting some money in every week or every other week. During points like this, where it retraces farther, I'm going to put more money in. So just using example numbers, these aren't what I do. But let's say every Friday I put $200 in VOO, no matter what. Moments like this where it's dipping really far, maybe I put 500 in, maybe I put 1,000 in because it's a better buying opportunity. Maybe when it gets far extended up here, I'm like, it's getting kind of extended. I'm only going to put $100 in today because I think there's a chance it could go down. So that's basically the only timing of the market I really do, is making sure I'm not going all in. Like, you don't want to be completely uninvested, 100% cash, and then dump it all in at this point when it could be the top of this cycle. So that's just what I do, So I think VOO is looking good. I still think we have some upside. Looking at the RSI. So this is what they call divergence. Typically on the weekly chart, wave 3 of 3 is the highest point. So we can see here, wave 3 of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something. Actually, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see how the divergence on this RSI starts to go down, and that's usually signaling when there's going to be a retracement. But overall, VOO still looks pretty good. Maybe we're finding a short-term top. Maybe that's wave 3 of wave 5, so you might see a little bit of retracement. Let's look at QQQ. I'm using QQQM because that's what I'm currently in. Actually, let's go QQQ because this is a smaller chart because QQQM was started after QQQ. All right. So similar thing. And because a lot of the holdings in QQQ are the same as VOO, the charts are going to be very similar. But the same thing happened. If this is wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, retested the wave 1 high. Let's look at the retracements on this just to see. So this one actually hit the golden zone, the 0.618 to 0.65 area. And like we talked about VOO, 200 weekly average, great time to buy. Let's look at the retracement of the potential wave 3. I gotta adjust that. So this one is again close to that 0.5, almost to the 200 weekly average, weekly moving average. Let's take the potential target here. So same thing, almost at those points. So I do think there might be a short-term top coming up soon, and then we'll see a retracement. So now might not be the time you want to go all in. At least I'm not. You can do what you want because, again, I'm not a professional. This is not financial advice. So yeah, this could be the market short-term top in the near future, but we shall see. But all the markets, again, they're looking healthy. They're above the 50, 100, 200 weekly moving averages. Looking at the daily chart, QQQ just hit it here and bounced up. So I mean, they're still looking good. VOO, same thing. 50, 100, 200, everything's looking pretty good. So right now the market looks strong. I will be doing actually I did yesterday and today. I bought some VOO and QQQ in my accounts. It is down a little bit today, but again, the markets are looking strong. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. Again, this is just a little bit of technical analysis. Some people believe in it, some people don't. I think it's a useful tool just to kind of understand what things are doing, what the market's doing. But all right, that's it. I will do my YouTube portfolio update tomorrow. I did make some buys this week, so we'll check that out. But thank you for watching. Drop in the comments if you like this video, if you want me to keep doing these type of videos, if you find them helpful. If you think this is stupid, let me know too. All right, I'm out.